These paths are old, often older than the landscapes that now surround them. And with age, they have gathered stories of ghostly horse and carts, phantom travellers, and mysterious coffin bearers. But is there any truth behind these folktales? This path is only one of many across Britain. Stone Street, laid by the Romans to connect Portus Laminus with Roman Canterbury. It's difficult to know whether an older track existed before the Roman road, but we do know that this route was carved permanently into the land nearly 2,000 years ago, and has remained a fixture of the landscape ever since. Century after century, people kept walking the same ground, an important path for generations long since vanished. Yet, along these routes, strange stories began to appear. Tales of ghosts, phantom funerals, skeletal undertakers, and dark processions moving through mist-filled lanes. On these ancient tracks, walked by countless generations, legends seem to wait in the quiet. Across the Celtic regions of Britain and in nearby Brittany, travellers speak of hearing the squeak of unseen wheels on lonely roads. Waiting on the crossroads or journeying towards a cemetery, a strange cart drawn by dark horses, a driver not entirely human, a harbinger of souls. This figure is known as the Ankou. The Ankou is believed to be the ghostly undertaker and graveyard manager, tasked with gathering the dead of each parish, travelling by horse and cart. One tale tells of a man walking alone who encountered such a cart, halted in the road. Inside sat a skeletal passenger. The driver repaired a broken axle with a hazel branch, then moved on in silence. From then, the witness fell ill and died the next day. Now it seems quite implausible, but it is shared among the Celtic parts of Britain and Brittany. And this isn't the only story that connects paths to death omens and graveyard-dwelling phantoms. For across Britain, particularly the older parts, stories have long warned of the wandering phantom funerals. Ghostly processions seen leaving a house where no death had yet occurred, a coffin carried, travelling slowly towards the next burial ground along the ancient tracks or corpse roads. Those who witnessed them describe stepping aside to let the silent mourners pass, while others nearby see nothing at all. But this is an omen. The funeral foretold the death in the household within the year. And if such visions were not unsettling enough, there are also tales of phantom travellers, figures encountered where no living person should be. And local to me, the stories persist. A horse and cart said to move through old cobble streets after dark. A lone hitchhiker glimpsed beside the motorway, vanishing when approached. Even whispers of a Roman centurion still riding the ancient road north of here, half buried in the ground. So why do paths seem to gather the dead? And why are these apparitions so often bound to death itself? One explanation reaches into the paranormal, the idea of ley lines. When first proposed by Alfred Watkins, these lines mapped patterns linking prehistoric sites across the landscape. But paranormal groups believed these sites hosted great power, and the lines often aligned with paths could bring about strange phenomena. Yet, there may be a simpler answer. For most of history, these paths were essential to daily life. People travelled them alone for hours, sometimes days, on foot or by horse, through darkness, fog and rain. Before electric light, a journey after sunset meant moving through deep shadow and uncertain sound. Woodland mist and exhaustion could distort the senses, turning shapes into figures, echoes into footsteps. Perhaps it's not surprising that travellers believed they'd glimpsed ghosts in the corner of the eye, or heard whispers in the dark. But to see an entire funeral procession, or a skeletal driver in a silent cart, suggests something more than simple illusion. These journeys were not only isolating, they were dangerous. Threatened by criminals, by harsh weather, and by the treacherous nature of the paths themselves. But perhaps the ghost stories served a purpose, a warning carried through generations that even the most familiar road could still be a perilous one. Or maybe there is something on the foggy, quiet, ancient paths that stretch our land that we simply can't explain.